Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to tell you why you should avoid upgrading to Windows 11 in 2026. Now, Windows 11 was released like over 2 years ago, and you would think that by now all of those nasty bugs and issues would have been resolved, right? Well, you'd be wrong. There are still tons of users complaining about random system crashes, blue screens, apps not opening, etc., just to name a few. And it seems like Microsoft is not really interested in fixing them. For example, this user reports that his system randomly shuts down while using Microsoft Office. This user can't get Bluetooth to work properly. This user has screen flickering issues. This user cannot open File Explorer. The list goes on and on and on. Do you really want to upgrade to an operating system that is so unstable? I don't think so. And let's not forget Windows 11 is incredibly resource hungry. It constantly uses up a ton of RAM and CPU resources, even when you're not doing anything. In fact, just having the File Explorer open uses up way more resources compared to Windows 10 or even Windows 12. For example, here I'm opening up File Explorer on all 3 operating systems, and as you can see, Windows 11 is already using up twice the amount of CPU resources compared to Windows 10 and Windows 12. And in terms of RAM usage, it's about the same as Windows 10, but way more than Windows 12. This brings me to my next point. If you use any older programs, especially those that are 32-bit, they will probably break after upgrading to Windows 11 because Windows 11 is not really designed for older software. Also, if you have any older hardware, especially if it's not officially supported, there's a good chance that it might stop working altogether after the upgrade. Now, some of you might say, well, I don't really care about all that. I just want the new features. But you won't even get those new features because Microsoft is constantly removing them. For example, a lot of people upgraded to Windows 11 for the fancy new widgets. But guess what? Microsoft removed them a few months later, and they still haven't brought them back. The same thing happened with the new Start menu search. At first, it was really cool that you could search for anything and get results from all over the web. But then Microsoft removed that functionality. Oh, and if you upgrade to Windows 11, you will no longer have the choice of keeping your apps open in the background. Microsoft will force you to use the new Windows 11 style apps which run in the foreground. Oh, and also all of those forced updates that I talked about in my previous video are still there. And if you upgrade to Windows 11, you will have no choice but to put up with them. And let's not forget all of the privacy concerns. You know how Microsoft and other big tech companies love to collect your data and sell it to advertisers? Well, in Windows 11, they took it to a whole new level. Now, if none of these reasons bother you, then I guess you can upgrade to Windows 11. But I personally would not do it, and here is why. Instead of upgrading to Windows 11, I would either stick to Windows 10, which is still a great operating system, or I would switch to Linux or macOS. Both of those operating systems are much more stable, much more secure, and they also respect your privacy. Linux is actually one of the most stable and secure operating systems out there. It's used by millions of servers and desktops all over the world. And as for macOS, well, Apple is known for making very stable and reliable operating systems. Of course, you might say, well, I just want the new features. But you're not gonna get those new features anyway, because Microsoft is constantly removing them. Plus, Windows 11 is not nearly as stable as Windows 10 or even Windows 12. So why even bother upgrading? So that's why I think that in 2026, upgrading to Windows 11 is a really bad idea. But of course, everyone's situation is different. So if you think that you can handle the downsides, then go ahead. That's all for this video. Let me know your thoughts. And as always, stay tuned for more awesome videos.